Hello and welcome to another beautiful day again. This is outnumbered on your screen. My name is Ramsey Enoch and I have Mercy right here. Good morning,
Good
Mercy.
morning, Ramsey. How are you?
Very well, I'm good. Good morning, Antonia.
Good morning, Ramsey. Good morning, Tonya.
Good morning, Mercy. I'm very well, thank you.
I'm still being outnumbered today. No worries, no worries. Not at all.
You don't have to be scared.
We got you.
Well, I'm in safe hands. All right, let's get straight to the headlines for today, beginning from the Nigerian Tribune. A railway corporation generated 1.07 billion naira from passengers in Q4 2023. That is coming from NBS. And the details of that you can get on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Zenith Bank emerges Nigeria's best in global finance best bank award for 2024. That's good. Well, Zenith Bank got one of their CEOs, a female CEO. I know.
Adora.
Tonya was proud of that. All right, Zenith Bank emerges Nigeria's best in global finance bank best bank award 2024. That's beautiful. Then the big story from the Nigerian Tribune says teachers shortage in primary schools hits 194,876, and this is coming from UBEC. As a matter of fact, two riders to that story, and one of the riders actually caught my fancy when I saw it, that some schools in rural areas have 2 or 3 teachers in a school. So I wonder how they teach the pupils.
And all classes.
All classes.
From primary 1. I can't even imagine
exactly.
it.
I was going to ask the question that when you say 2 or 3 teachers, and we usually have like primary 1 to 5, that's excluding the KG classes. So how do you have 2 to 3 teachers take all of these classes?
Does these schools have supervisors? I don't know. The prime school is very vital because that is the foundational, aspect of education as far as I'm concerned. All right, the second rider says NUT expresses worry. It's a worry indeed. Then this one says how Aburi ignored Obi's advice on Labour Party crisis. Satanko is the one saying that, and the details of that you can get on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, from the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Kogi poll, drama at tribunal sitting as witnesses disown depositions. Drama at tribunal sitting as witnesses disown the positions. Okay, the details of that you can get on page 2. So many things happening in Kogi State, But I was feeling since Yaya Bello is no more there, things should at least get stabilized a little bit. But then, who is Ododo and who is Yaya Bello?
About stabilized, one would say Yaya Bello is as a result of, I beg your pardon, Ododo is as a result of what Yaya Bello. And if you have godfather, you always look up to them. I don't feel the child always does better than the father when it comes to politics.
And the father
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all.
And there's this saying that you can't bite the finger that fed you.
So now, there was actually a clip that went viral some time ago where Odudu was actually telling people that if he actually told them to leave or go somewhere, and Yaya Bello says sit down, that they should listen to him, Yaya Bello, instead and not him. So begs the question, what's going to happen in Kogi State?
In Kogi State, that's more like a figurehead. It's more like a figurehead. All right, that's the size of the headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. Let's get to the next paper. Over to you, Mercy.
Okay, all right. Away from Nigerian Tribune, we will be moving to Vanguard newspaper this morning. Vanguard, the biggest story here, or rather the lead story says banks need 4.7 trillion naira to scale CBN's new capital hurdle. I take that again. Banks need 4.7 trillion naira to scale CBN's new capital hurdle. It's a big story, page 5 of Vanguard, and under that we have no bank qualifies under new guidelines. It begs the question. I mean, CBN has not even raised all of this, and you see people looking for their money. You just see them debited for table, debited for things that you do not know anything about. Let's see how the banks would be able to fix all of this. Now, ETI Zenith Access First Bank lead in eligible capital. 7 qualify by adding retained earnings. No need to panic. That's coming from Akamb, and that's all of that stories can be found on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. Now to more stories. VP Shatima, CBN Governor Cardoso, Ayo Teriba headline 2024 Vanguard Economic Summit, and that's on page 14. And now to Labour Party crisis. Abure rejected Peter Obi's advice for all-inclusive convention. Obi Dati spokesman, that's on page 9. And now to the next story. Energy crisis. That's the kicker of the story. The writer says more troubles for Gencos as federal government increases gas price by 11%. And that's the page 12 read. Looks like we're going to go back to the days of using firewood at some point, because if the gas prices keeps going up, I do not know what happens to an average Nigerian. And now to the next story. Edo Guba, chairman group bigger over Accord Party's candidate. And that's the page 7 read. Below that, we have BSM gives party INEC 7 days to drop Iyere as flag bearer or face litigation. Iyere remains our candidate. Omorigbe, chairman, Edo rejects Godfather's imposition at governorship poll. That's coming from Aisha Yesufu. Of course, she is a popular person. And now to page 6 on the Vanguard. Police confirm robbers rob set ablaze passengers bus in Ogun State. That's a sad one there. Now to the final story I'll be taking in Vanguard. How soldiers, villagers died. That's coming from an eyewitness. And now it says Bayelsa militant leader Amegbe, not from Okama. Notes leader from Okoloba, forgive my pronunciation, led the army to Okwama, reveals the conspiracies that transpired on March 14. Allow Okwama to bury the dead. That's coming from the residents. And that's all I'll take for Vanguard newspaper this morning.
All right, on the Daily Independent newspaper, the first headline we'll be taking is the big story. Naira gains 660 Naira on $7 billion foreign exchange backlog clearance. BDC's return, and that story is on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Now, moving on to the next one, Kaduna crisis. Suspended APC women leader berates governor, reveals how El-Rufai made him senator. And we'll have a rider to that, as Senator Shehu Sani thanks Providence for vindicating him. Now, the details of that you can find on page 29 of the Daily Independence newspaper. Underneath that, we have Nigeria among 16 countries with high anemia rates in girls. And this is coming from the UNICEF. This Nigeria among 16 with high anemia. Anemia is basically loss of blood, and it's so sad to see Nigeria coming out in all of these rankings, and it's very sad. Okay. And now the details of that is on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Tinubu attends swearing in ceremony of Senegal's president-elect Faye, and that you can find on page 7. Global Finance Awards 2024. Zenith Bank emerges Nigeria's best bank for the 4th year. So since 2020, Zenith Bank has been clinching the Best Bank Award consistently. And this year, they did it again. Now, finally, from the Daily Independent newspaper, PDP North Central moves to replace Ayu Damagum with substantive chair. And we'll have a rider to that story, which says, insists on serving out its term in office. Now, that story continues on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. And that will be all from here.
All right, thank you very much, Tonya, for that. Let's get to the next paper, which is the Leadership newspaper. From the Leadership above the head, I have this story which says Tinubu to attend inauguration of Senegal's president-elect. The details of that you can get on page 18 of the Leadership newspaper. Then this one is directly below the header. Electricity tariff may rise as federal government raises gas price for Genco. Well, I don't know what will happen additional to what is happening in Nigeria right now. Then electricity tariff increase. Any rise in electricity tariff right now is going to be like putting more burden on Nigerians. I don't think Nigerians are ready to receive any more burden, as a matter of fact. All right, more still coming this morning. The big story from here says Experts raise concern over delayed posting. Experts raise concern over delayed posting. I don't know. I think this has to do with ambassadors list. Uh, some writers to that story, and the first writer says it's dangerous to leave foreign missions vacant. This one is coming from ex envoys. Then the second writer says delay affecting foreign investment and national interest. And the last writer to that story says it's the prerogative of Mr. President. All right, that is as it has to do with the appointment of ambassadors. And that's going to be the last from the leadership newspaper this morning. We will go on a quick break, and after this break, we'll return, and it's going to be time for the big story. Don't go nowhere.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It's still outnumbered live on your screen with Ramsey, Mercy, and Antonia. We said on return, it's going to be time for the big story. We told you from the Nigerian Tribune that teacher shortage in primary schools hit 194,876. And as a matter of fact, if you see this, one of the writers to the story says in some rural areas, they have 2 or 3 teachers in a school. Then you begin to ask, you begin to wonder, how much would 2, 3 teachers offer to the pupils in a primary school? You know, and primary school, we all went through the process. So you know how it looks. When you're coming out of a good primary school, getting to secondary school, you find some things easy. It becomes easier. But then, when the foundation is faulty, there tends to be a lot of problem along the line. But then, I wonder why the authorities will just know about this and still keep quiet. Or does it mean they are not aware? Would they want to claim ignorance of this situation? So, Antonia, as it is right now, this is happening to your pupils, okay, in Nigeria. What do you think may be the outcome of this situation if it is not handled right now?
Okay, so if this situation is not handled properly, we'll continue to have a circle of pupils who move into secondary school not learning all they should learn in the formative years. If you look at it quite very carefully, children who are in primary school are between the ages of 4 to 10. And those are the formative years. Those are the years where a child you get more cognitive ability, you learn how to write, you learn how to read, you learn how to count numbers, you learn how to put sentences together, you understand simple English, simple meaning of words. And when that child progresses to secondary school, you see that the brain of that child is now more developed to assimilate more advanced subjects and all of that. If this foundation is faulty, definitely it will continue. And when it continues, they are talking about primary school. How much more secondary school? It will shock you if a study is done on the number of secondary school teachers we have. You'll be amazed at the numbers, and you see it continues even to university level. So that's the reason why the issue of half-baked graduates and all of that will continue to exist. Now, the authorities need to take this as a pandemic. They need to treat it very seriously. They need to look into this very carefully and ensure that teachers are employed. Nigerians are complaining of unemployment. Teachers are employed. And in a class, let's say in primary school now, on an average, you have maybe 50 students or 50 pupils in a class. Now, imagine a teacher teaching 50 pupils. This is just for a class that has just one arm. You know, primary schools might have primary 1A, primary 1B, C, D, F, and so on and so forth. Now, imagine just one teacher teaching primary 1, A, B, C. Now teaching primary 2, A, B, C, primary 3. That teacher will be exhausted. So this is something the authorities need to look critically into and ensure that the situation gets better.
All right, thank you, Antonia. All right, over to you now, Mercy.
Okay, I would like to see from this angle, teacher shortage in primary school hits 194,876. I remember a few months back, or maybe a few years, where we actually had, we talked about teachers, where they said most of these teachers are not even qualified to teach most of the students. Let's start with that. Now, you have two teachers covering maybe like say 7, 10 classes, like Anthony said, because most times we realize that most of these classes they have primary 1A,
Yeah,
primary
they are
1B,
splitted.
primary 1C, primary 1D. And I remember when I was in secondary school, because I attended a state secondary school then, we had issues with the fact that one teacher would come and teach like 4 subjects, and of course they are tired by the time they get to the class most of the time. Now that we have 3 to 4, how do you impact knowledge in most of the students? Now we still have issues of these teachers not even being qualified enough. Then we add more burden to their cases. How do we move forward? How is the Commissioner for Education moving into all of these cases to actually sort them out? Because every time you see Nigerians fighting the federal government to say, oh, the federal government is the one responsible for most of these things. But I beg to differ. Everything, I always say, a drop of water makes an ocean. If we are able to actually tackle issues from the states, and then it begs the question, I always like to attribute everything to insecurity. If you have 2 to 3 teachers watching over a particular school, how can they see everything that is happening in a school to even say they are going to be conscious of their environment, to know when it's time for them to be safe or even run when it comes to insecurity matters? So I feel the federal government, the state government, our Commissioner for Education, they need to do better, and we do hope they hear our voice as regards this.
We do hope they hear our voice as regards this. Well, I just don't know who to blame right now. Is it the commissioner? Is it the teachers? Is it the parents? But as a matter of fact, the government should know, the state government should know that whatever happens, okay, in their states, they should channel it to the appropriate quarters so that it will be handled. Because at the end of the day, it won't be a good one. Thank you for adding your voice to the conversation, Antonia. And thank you for bringing your thoughts to the table, Mercy. This is going to be the size of the big story on Outnumbered this morning. Do have a beautiful day and keep tap on the channel for more information. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.